Welcome to this Pocket program. My name is Sydney Smart and I'm the infection preventionist here at Firelands. And today I'm going to talk to you about vaccination and vaccines. And with the past 2 years being really focused on COVID vaccination, there may be some that we forgot that we're supposed to get as well. So here I'm just going to do a quick overview of some of the ones that are still important. So first one is influenza vaccination. This vaccine is very important to help control influenza in the community. Influenza is something we see seasonally. In Ohio, generally around October, we start seeing it all the way into potentially May. Every flu season's a little different, so it can be hard to tell when it's going to peak. However, we know each year we will have influenza. Influenza is caused by a virus, and there are lots of different types of influenza virus. I think of it like a dog. So all dogs are a dog, but there's lots of different breeds. Each breed is still considered a dog, just like influenza. All different strains, all still considered influenza. And each year, the influenza vaccine covers 4 of those strains. And they pull those strains when they look at what they're seeing in other countries and predicting what we'll have here in the United States. So each year, those strains can be a little different, and that's why it's important to get it every single year, because it may be a little different and provide extra protection for you. And when you're looking at influenza as well, one of the reasons it's important that we get the vaccine is that it can be hard to control influenza because we're contagious before we ever know we're sick. So you can be walking around infecting other people unaware that you're sick. Now, influenza, once you do become sick, can cause symptoms such as fever, chills, muscle aches, body aches, cough, sore throat, very similar symptoms to COVID. It's important you work with your doctor to see if you have COVID or influenza. The cold is a little bit different in that you don't usually see those fevers and chills and body aches. You see more coughing, sneezing, maybe a sore throat, runny, stuffy nose, but you don't generally see those other symptoms. So with influenza, it's important that we don't spread the virus, and one of the ways to prevent that is getting that vaccine. Now, if you're 6 months or older, they recommend that you get the flu shot. And again, that's going to be that 4 strain vaccination, 1 shot. If you're 65 and older, they do recommend the high dose vaccination. This has 4 times the number of antigens, and it's to help your body boost that immune system. So if you're immunocompromised or 65 and older, it may take your body a little bit more exposure to create those antibodies to protect you from the influenza virus. So this is something you'd want to talk to your doctor on which one they think you should get, the standard vaccine or the high dose vaccination. Can the flu shot give you the flu? No. All of the flu shots we currently use are either made with a dead virus or inactivated virus, or pieces and parts of the virus, but not the full virus. So you actually cannot get the flu from the flu vaccine. Now you may say, well, people say that all the time. How do you know? Maybe you, number one, you could be infected with a different virus when you got the shot and then you got sick. So you could have rhinovirus, enterovirus, COVID, RSV. There's a whole slew of different viruses out there. You could also have had the flu, not known it, and become sick a couple days later. It does take 2 weeks for your body to make those antibodies and become effective against the flu virus. So you could get exposed in that time and become sick. Or you could have some mild side effects from the vaccine. So again, keep that in mind, but you cannot actually get the flu from the flu shot. Another thing to keep in mind is, say you get your vaccine in October. That's when they recommend it. That's great. They'll carry you through your full season. If you wait till Thanksgiving or January when they recommend October, you're like, oh, it's too late. It's not too late. You can still get the vaccine and still be protected for the rest of that season. Some seasons are really bad at the end of the year. Some are really bad in the spring. It's unpredictable, so still protect yourself and get the flu shot. Lastly, another thing to keep in mind is people who get the flu vaccine have an 82% reduced risk of being admitted to the ICU. So again, if you get your flu shot, even if you get sick with the flu and have some mild symptoms, it may not be as bad as what it would have been without the shot. and protecting you from having those long hospital stays. Other things you can do to protect yourself from flu throughout the season is going to be covering your cough, washing your hands, and social distancing. But the most important piece is going to be that influenza vaccine. Another important vaccine that you may be interested in is the pneumococcal vaccine. And one of the reasons you would be interested in this is if you do get flu, a serious complication that can happen is your body's immune system is down and it's fighting flu. That gives it a great opportunity for this bacteria to infect your body. Generally, it lives up in our nares or our nose, but when you become sick, sometimes we call that an opportunistic pathogen. It takes the opportunity when your body is already fighting something to infect your body, so causing pneumonia. So it's a complication that you can get from flu or other types of illnesses, and this vaccine will help protect against several types of those pneumococcal pneumonias. There are several different vaccines out there, and depending on what kind you get, you may need 1 or 2 doses, and also depending what you've had in the past. So you'll want to work with your physician on exactly what pneumococcal vaccines you will need for you to be fully protected against the pneumococcal pneumonias that are out there. The other important thing to note is Medicare Part D generally will cover this vaccine with 100% if you get 1 shot in 1 year and 1 12 months later if you choose the 2-dose series. So again, work with your physician. This is an important vaccine to get to prevent those severe complications related to flu. Shingles vaccine is another one that is recommended for anyone 50 and older. It is a 2-dose series generally, and you can talk with your physician about the timing of getting the vaccine. Shingles is an illness from the varicella virus, and it can live in your body, and then it can flare up at different times. Generally, it follows a nerve track, and it can be very painful. And sometimes, even after you have resolved this shingles outbreak, you may still have that nerve pain there, and so it still may be painful, and you may have that neuralgia longer lasting. So it's important that you look into the shingles vaccine. You're still eligible if you've had shingles in the past. This can still prevent future outbreaks of shingles. You're also eligible if you had the Zostavax in the past. They're going to recommend you get the new vaccine Shingrix because it's the newer vaccine and it works a little better. They also have no maximum age, so regardless of your age, you can still be eligible for shingles vaccine or Shingrix. And then if you have a current outbreak of shingles, they will not recommend the vaccine for you at that time. However, once it's completely healed and clear, there's generally no specific length of time that you have to wait. So again, work with your physician on when you could get that after an outbreak, but you still are eligible to get the vaccine. Another important vaccine, especially for anyone who's going to be a parent or a grandparent or be around young children, is the Tdap vaccination. That's tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. So pertussis is whooping cough. You may have heard of it, but it can be very dangerous in young children. So it's something that you would want to look at if you're going to be around your new baby or new family member, just to give them a little extra protection that you don't pass it on to them. Adults, all you may have for whooping cough is potentially a cough that you're like, oh, I just can't get rid of this cough this winter. In an infant, it can be life-threatening, and we can prevent it with a vaccine. It is a vaccine that you only have to get once every 10 years, and you can talk to your physician to see if you have had it in the past 10 years. If you're not sure and you want to make sure you've had it, you can still get it earlier than the 10 years if you don't know when you had it last. So again, work with your physician on that, but this is a really important one if you're going to be around young children. And then lastly, COVID. Firelands does offer the COVID vaccine, and it is always changing currently with what dosages and what time frames. So work with your physician on when best to get your initial series if you haven't had that, and any reoccurring boosters. So again, work with your physician for that also. With all of this information, if you want to find out more or you have additional questions, reach out to your local physician, the Firelands webpage, or CDC. All of these are going to be great resources for you and the vaccination. Again, my name is Sydney. I'm Infection Prevention here at Firelands, and thank you for listening to this Pocket program.